Okay. All right. So today is the last and final day. And I actually went ahead and put in some other topics, such as reviewing and some topics about the self-publishing process. And so I'm kind of like, as these 3 days have gone by, kind of gauging where everyone is and trying to tailor the presentation to the people that actually log in. So thank you so much for participating and let me know where you are so I can make sure I give you what you need. All right, so targeting your audience. Okay, so this question is a question that I get from a lot of people. If I write this book, will anyone read it? The answer is yes. Somebody is going to read it. So you don't have to worry about someone reading, whether it's a family member or a friend, someone is going to read your book. Now, if you want to get a specific type of reader, that's where the targeting the audience come into place. That's where you have to determine why are you writing this book and who are you writing this book for. Hold on one second. Susie just popped in. Hi, Susie. She's there. Yes, she's there. Okay, so you want to determine who you're writing this book for, what's in it for you, and what's in it for them. So I always say, write a book that makes you feel as if the reader will enjoy the book. I wouldn't necessarily say write for money. There are a lot of writers out there who are self-published and they haven't gotten a lot of money, but really write it for the user and make sure that what you want out of it, whatever that is pretty much the happiness from the reader. So that's what I would say. But, you know, this is all subjective. You know, it's up to the person of what you want out of this. Write for your audience. So that's very key. I started this book off, Overcoming All Things Through Christ Jesus. This one here. Oh, sorry. Trying to go up the screen so I can make sure I can see. Okay, yeah. I started this book here, and originally I had things in here for children and teenagers and adults, and it became a big mess. So I realized, hey, I can't get a child to read this book. I probably couldn't get a teenager to read this book either, but I know I can get an adult to read this book. So what I did was I took some of the information that I had in here and put it in here. This is Overcoming All Things Through Christ Jesus. This is for teenagers. So I actually put in information about being in middle school, high school, going on to college, so that this book is for anywhere between someone from the ages of 10 and 17 can read this book. And then I really wanted to have something for every age group. And that's the reason why I got my son involved, and he wrote the kids book. And this is for, I would say around about 2 up until they're 10. They'll probably enjoy this book. So you have to write for your audience. I'm pretty sure an adult will not read this or want to read it and get anything out of it. I'm pretty sure that a 10-year-old or a 6-year-old will have a problem with this book. So you want to write towards your audience and for your audience. Targeting your audience is going to be significant in actually helping you design the book cover. So it's kind of hard to see my book covers because of the background and the going in and out. But once you determine your audience, who are you writing this for, you're going to have to read, and reread. Keep reading your book. Read line by line, read out loud. For some reason, when I read out loud, I can catch my mistakes more than reading it in my head. So I advise you to read line by line and read slowly, because your mind can put things in a sentence that are not there. So make sure you read slowly and word by word. Check your spelling. Make sure your spelling is correct. And don't think that you've caught all your mistakes. Never be like, oh, yep, I don't have to go get my book edited. I found them all. 9 out of 10 times you haven't. It is very good to have someone read behind you so that they can actually, oh, one second here. I got someone coming in. I think, okay, there's a chat. Hold on. Let's see here. Let's read what this says. Okay, this is Susie. Okay. Okay. All right. So Susie's having some issues, but she's here. So thank you for joining, Susie. Have you been catching any of the recordings that I've put on YouTube? Okay. All right. So also make sure that you get your point across. Make sure you're clear. Is your point clear? Can you follow your book? Maybe even take a piece of your book and find out if you give that specific section to someone else, they're able to follow your book as well. One of the best things you can do is put your book down. Just put it down for a couple days, relax, pick the book up, and start reading it again. I am sure you're gonna find some mistakes. Something happens when you give your brain time to rest and allow yourself to forget the material you wrote. If you're forgetting the material you wrote, you forget the flow and how the words are supposed to be lined up or in order. You give your mind time to rest, and then go back and really look at the work to make sure your spelling is correct, the words flow, everything flows. So make sure you put it down for a couple days and pick it back up again. And once you feel as if, okay, I'm done, give the book to a friend to read. They're gonna find some things that, that needs to be corrected as well. And then lastly, you wanna give your book to a professional editor, someone to read over your book. You will have to pay. I think I went over this with Susie when she logged in day before yesterday. For editing a book, I use Eskeban. It cost me $700 to get this book edited, but Daddy's Precious Angel cost me $1,500 to get it edited because it's so thick. This is a 257 word book. So Charmaine,
yes,
the bigger your book, the more words, the more it's going to cost you. So you're looking at a very expensive book to edit.
Okay.
Okay. All right, next. All right, so you want to make sure you have a unique title. Make sure it's catchy. Make sure you write down a list of titles like we did on yesterday's exercise where Jada, she named her book The Demon's Daughters. By the way, when I heard it yesterday, I didn't think to say it, but I literally just finished watching The Devil's Advocate like a couple weeks ago. And so when you said The Demon's Daughter, it really put me in the mindset of The Devil's Advocate. Because have you ever seen The Devil's Advocate?
No, I've never seen it.
Okay, well, I'm not going to tell you. I don't want you to see it until you write your book. Because I don't want you to get any ideas. But it did put me in the mind of The Devil's Advocate because of the storyline. Sean, his book was called The Mission Out of Space. Yeah, I think that's what it was called, The Mission Out of Space. So you want something that's going to be catchy and it's going to be short and sweet. I will say the problem with my first book, Overcoming All Things Through Christ Jesus, The Guide to Being a Limitless Warrior of Freedom, is long. Now that I look back, and I can't change it now, I could, but I got too many books that have this title. I wouldn't have made the title so long. I would have said something like Overcoming with Christ, Be Limitless. Something short and sweet, because people have to remember your title. And to be honest, it's hard to remember Overcoming All Things Through Christ Jesus, The Guide to Being a Limitless Warrior of Freedom. So don't make the mistake that I made. Also, this is the best title here, Daddy's Precious Angel, short and sweet. Short and sweet. You can remember that. And it reminds you of you being a child, and maybe if you're very close to your father, you were daddy's little girl. So something along those lines. You can make sure it's funny, it can be mysterious, it can be meaningful, but it should fit the genre. That's one key thing. Make sure the title fits. You want something that's going to grab readers' attention and pull them in. All right. So titles can be meaningless too until you read the book. You could get a title that says, BAM! You're like, what? What is BAM? But it will grab people's attention like, BAM? What is this book about? BAM has no meaning until you read the book. So that's another way to grab the attention of your reader. And if it's sci-fi, you know, it allows your reader to be like, bam, and this is a sci-fi book. Ooh, I wonder what it's about. Base your title on a 30-second elevator speech. So in 30 seconds, your title should fit whatever you're going to say about your book. If someone says, what is your book about? You got 30 seconds to keep their attention. Mainly after 30 seconds, and sometimes in some cases 15 seconds, you've lost their attention. So make sure it's quick. Make sure you use those titles that's going to grab their attention and cause them to ask you more about your book. Cause them to say, because of the title, I wonder what this book is about. So basically, you want to make sure that your title is memorable and catchy. Is it memorable? Is it catchy? If someone that comes to me and they want to buy my book and they may not have the money, you're going to hear that a lot. I don't have the money right now. Or let me think about it. Will it cause them to turn around and say, you know what? Let me go to the ATM and get money and buy your book. I have had that happen where people say, I don't have the money on me right now, but I'll be back. And, you know, sometimes I'm like, yeah, they're not coming back. And I'm always surprised when they do come back because they're interested in what you've said about your book. So you never know. Every single person and every person you encounter is an opportunity to sell your book. Just because you encounter one person that won't sell your book, don't become disappointed. Don't become depressed. And when the next person comes, you're like, well, my book is about, you know, always be enthusiastic, whether they buy it or not. Each person is a new opportunity, and remember that. All right, so attention grabbing backs. Okay, so does the back of your book ask a question? You want to be able to summarize the plot in little points, but you don't want to give too much information about the plot of your book. You don't want to give it away on the back cover. You want to leave people wondering like, I think I need to read this. The back of my book, and I have the Spanish version in front of me. Oh, here it is, the English version, because I can't read the Spanish one. What are things I say? Bound down, oppressed, depressed, question mark. Chains will be broken today. So I'm trying to grab the reader's attention. One of the things I have right here, you probably can't see it here, but you can see it in my background. There's a chain that's being broken. So chains are broken today. Use pictures on your cover to show, hey, this is what this book is about. If you've ever been in a test and can't see their cover, restoration is in sight. Make sure it's like something that's going to cause your audience to say, that's me. Or maybe something says, ooh, I want to read about that story. So this is another way to target your audience through the back cover of your book and make bold statements. One of the bold statements I have is, if you're going through a storm, be encouraged. You will see victory and defeat the enemy. So that's a bold statement. I'm guaranteeing you that you will be victorious. So make your bold statements and point out some unknown facts about in your book, on the back of your book, but don't give too much information. Keep some for yourself so that they can have something to enjoy as they read the book. All right, so down to, okay, so cover and back page ideas. And we've talked about this briefly. Charmaine, I think Susie was also a part of the conversation with the books and the back covers. So you can determine whether you want a 5x8 or 8x10 back cover. My son and I, we sketched out the back of our book so you can see a little drawing of how we wanted the back of the book to look. I actually illustrated it in, well, I had to learn how to use specific tools to actually draw his cover. I used Wacom, something called Wacom pad. And it's like a little pen and pad, and you draw on the pad, and it, you know, it connects to your computer, and you can color on the Wacom pad and everything. So you draw out your book cover. You can use pen and paper, pencil, and draw it out. So this would give the graphic artist an idea of what you want your book to look like. You're gonna have to give them something. I would suggest that if you want to be in control of the cover of your book, then you actually control what it looks like. Because some graphic designers, they'll give you a limit of, I'm going to make you 5 book covers. And what if you don't like the 5 that they made? they're not going to make any more without charging you another fee for 5 more book covers. So in order to save you money, I suggest that you write out or draw out and sketch out what you want the back of your book cover to look like and the back of the book to look like, so you don't run into the problem of the graphic designer trying to charge you again because you don't like their design. You can also try to design it yourself. You can purchase license for images. We talked about that briefly, but you just got to make sure you give credit for the images that you purchase. And also, don't forget to ask for someone's opinion. And it's okay. Ask for someone's opinion to see if they like your cover. Does it attract their attention? Is it something that they would buy? All right, so now we're getting to, once you have your book, it's written, it's edited, you've read, reread, made sure someone else read it, paid for somebody to read it, you've decided that you have the book cover that you want. Now it's time to self-publish. Now, the question is, what is your budget? How much money are you willing to spend? You can do it completely yourself through like somewhere like CreateSpace. There are other self-publishing companies that will help guide you through the process. I had a book here. Probably can see it. Nope, some of you can see it, some of you can't. Okay, so it's called A Guide to Book Printing and Self-Publishing. This is Gorham's Printing. And I received this in the mail and has some very good information. It actually breaks down how much it costs to print a 5.5 by 8.5, 48 pages. They'll charge you $18.34 for 25 copies. So it breaks it down. Can you find this online? I actually got this in the mail from a company. Somehow, some way, my information got out that I was publishing a book. I don't know if it was through Amazon, but you'll find that people will find you. So it may become a little bit easier for you to find a self-publisher. So you want to question and ask yourself, what's in your budget? Can I afford to market my book? I'm going to talk about that briefly when I get to the next slide, but I'm just going to go over just, can you afford to market your book? What does marketing entail? We're going to answer that question as I go through the briefing. Can I travel to market my own book? That's going to be important. Are you able to spend the time that you need marketing your book, meeting people, making sure that you make those connections, okay? And how will I become known in my community amongst the people that surround me? So those are going to be key questions to ask yourself when you start self-publishing. So you want to go ahead and research some companies, find out if the company is going to be helpful to you, what services they provide. I personally use CreateSpace. I actually liked it. And one thing for sure, if a book looks self-published, like you made it yourself, people may not buy it. I mean, literally, I have met people that are authors. And when I looked at the cover of their book, I'd ask them, who did your cover? And they may say their publisher, but I'm not quite sure what publisher they used. The cover looked like something that they made. And it wasn't very appealing or attractive to me. So if it looks like it's self-published, it looks like someone just kind of went on Microsoft Word and threw some pictures up there and put some words up there, no one's going to pay $10 for your book. I'm just being real. Here are some of the examples of authors that I've met during different book tours and different events that have given me their books. So take a look at these covers. Pattern for Purpose. Baltimore Love. This is actually someone that lives in Baltimore. When Religion Isn't Enough. Oh, that's a white book. Born to Preach was a pastor I met at a church. Prelude to Life Poetry, another book. And Principles of Leadership. So those are just some examples of book covers. And you can go on Amazon and find plenty of book covers, trust me. You'll know if someone made it themselves versus someone professionally did the book. Your book needs to be clean, it needs to be professional, and the cover needs to be attractive. All right, so self-publishing. So you got your book, you got your cover, bam, that's it, right? That's all you need to do, right? No.
No.
No. It is just beginning. You have to build your brand. You have to build who you are. On the side of this slide, you'll see self-publishing. That this is a guide I'm going to send you. These are the 16 steps I took in order to make sure my book was published. I had to register with the IRS. I had to get a business license. I had to open up a business bank account. I had to copyright my material. I had to get an ISBN number. I had to generate a barcode, use a barcode generator to get the little back barcode thing on my book. It doesn't stop at the book is done. There is a business process to you becoming an author. You do have to go through the government. No one thinks about this. They always say, oh, I wrote my book and it's published. But the rest of that is now you need to build your brand so you can market your book. You got to have the right documents in place, because when you start selling your books, you will have to pay taxes, state taxes on your books. No one thinks about that part. But you will have to get in contact with your state, fill out the sales and taxation forms, and make sure every time you make your book sales, you're going to have to go and report the sales that you made, and also pay the taxes on the book. Now, what I normally do is that I include the taxes in my book. So you can just charge $10, but your book actually costs like $9.50, and the other 50 cents goes to taxes. You will have to pay taxes for your books, and you will have to do your IRS as far as your business. You will have to have a section where you have to discuss your expenses. Now, the best part about this is that you can write off your business expenses for the first couple years. After that, it does become a hobby if you're not making any money. So for the first couple of years, say if you invested like $3,000, because you had to get it edited, because you had to get the books printed, because you've done some book tours, and it will cost you money to vend. You can write all that off in your taxes. So, but you will have to market yourself. You have to invent yourself. People need to know who you are and what you're about in order for them to want to buy your product. That's where you're going to have to start coming into getting business cards. Here's an example, business cards. You're going to have to get this is my business card. That's my flyer. This is my flyer, business cards, bookmarks, brochures, websites. Get your 30-second pitch. Start doing your book tours and much, much more. Be careful with book tours, because there are some people out there that will set up an event and say, hey, I have this event. We're looking for vendors. It costs $60. It costs $75. And then you pay your money. And then next thing you know, they cancel the event. Now, can I get my money back? Well, some of them will. Some of them will scam you and rip you off and take your money. I have had that happen where I've paid $75 for a book tour. The young lady canceled the event, and I emailed her several times, and she said, oh, I'll get you the money. I'll get you the money. I've never met her. I don't know where she's from. At this point, you're pretty much just trusting who you come in contact with. And I never got my $75 back. So you're going to have to be very careful. Do your research behind these people that are, looking for vendors and things like that. Your quickest sales are going to be your family and your friends. You're going to sell them real quickly. I want to encourage you to not be discouraged when, after your friends and family buy the book, there are few people buying it. At first, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, this is great. I'm selling all these books, but think about who you're selling them to. Your friends and your family are going to support you. Now you're going to have to figure out a way to bring in those people that don't know you, the target audience. Those are the ones that you really want to capture, because that's how you're really going to make the money. All right, so these are some of the ways I advertise my brand. I have a website. I have my business card. This is the website right here, the business card right here. Bookmark. I actually had a YouTube commercial. It's called Webmercial. I also, on my website, I have people that bought my book. I have this big giant billboard. It stands like 6 feet tall, and it has all this information about me on it. So you're gonna have to have the tools such as these to really market yourself. And because people are gonna ask you, do you have a business card? So you're gonna have to have business cards. Can I have a flyer? Can I buy this online? How can I get this? And I also give a bookmark out with every book that I sell. So these are different tools that you can use in order to build your brand. So I'm going to stop right there, and I'm going to ask, are there any questions? Mm-hmm. Anyone have any questions about branding? Okay.
I had a question. When it comes to getting images and getting licenses for images, could you repeat again, you know, who did you choose to buy images through? Okay. And how much did that image cost? And okay. Then when it comes down to like a license, are you given like a certificate, or how do you prove that, hey, I have a license to this image?
Okay, I'm going to get to that slide. It's actually on my tool slide. So hold that question. I'm going to answer it as soon as I get there. Okay. All right, so I just want to point out some interesting facts. I found this to be very interesting that 81% of people, if you ask them, would you like to write a book? 81% of the people in 2011 said yes. That's 200 million people have said, I would like to write a book. But if you exclude those that want to write but never write or never finish, there are only about 1 million books that actually get written. Thriller, James Patterson, he made 94. Oh, okay, I'm almost out of time, 10 minutes. $94 million in 2012, according to Forbes. And he actually got, he was one of 145,900 Americans that actually write. And his median salary is $55,000. Another interesting fact, Carrie, it was rejected. This is a Stephen King's book. It was rejected by 30 times, and he threw it in the trash, but his wife found it and actually encouraged him to publish it and everything. He got $39 million in 2012. Okay, so let's go down to J.K. Rowling. I mentioned her before, Harry Potter. She was rejected dozens of times until an 8-year-old daughter of a publisher said, I want to get this book. So here's another fact. 97% of people who start to write a book never write it. And out of 1,000 people that set out to do so, only 30 people actually complete it. And of those 30, only 20% of those people actually publish their book. That's 6 people. 6. So why do they not publish a book? Procrastination. They're trying to be perfect. They're waiting for the right time. They don't know who their target market is, and they have writer's block. I want to encourage you today, don't be a part of statistics that never finish their book. Be the 6 that get it published. Be a part of the group to publish your book. Get it out. Don't procrastinate. Don't try to make it perfect. Don't wait till the perfect time. Get over this writer's block. There's a difference between writing a book and wanting to write a book. It's going to take time. It's going to take money. It's going to take energy, but you have to be persistent. Now, this is Sean's question. I have less than 10 minutes. Some of the things that I used for images is iStock, Shutterstock, Dreams Times, Pixabay.com. You can get these. When you purchase the actual image, your actual purchase will come with the image, and the receipt is your license to say that, hey, you have the image. So it'll come in your email with everything that you need to let you know that you have you are able to use that image. And it cost me $15 to purchase my image. Each image was $15 a piece, and I think I purchased like maybe 4. So maybe like $100 I paid just to get the image purchased. You can use voice recognition tools. We talked about this briefly: Jaggerly and Naturally Speaking, Google Docs, Apple Dictation, Windows speech recognition. These are different publishing companies you can use: Gorham, Amazon Archway, Immigrants Spark. And thank you for joining. Looks like I got kicked out, so all right. Okay, so if there are no more questions or comments or concerns, looks like some people, some people are coming back in. I got 6 minutes, so I'm so sorry for those that got kicked out. All right, so I can go back to the graphic software that I use, which is Adobe CS, Adobe InDesign, Illustrator. So these are some of the tools that I've used in order to write my book. What I am going to do is send you this worksheet, the step-by-step process that I use in order to get my book published. Do you have any questions, comments, or concerns? Okay, good. Also, I'm going to send out a quick survey of this session, and you can fill it out if you can, please, for me. Oh, Charmaine's back. Oh. All right, I'm going to send a quick survey out for this session. If you can fill it out, please fill it out for me. There's a comment section of that you can fill out as far as what you'd like to see next time, or what I could do better this time. I will run this session again. I haven't decided quite when, but I'm going to revamp the material because I want to make sure that everyone that joins has everything that they need. So I want to put it all in just one session so I can get you guys writing so that you can be a part of the 6 people that actually finishes their book. Okay, Charmaine, do you have any questions?
No, those were my questions for today about publishing and, book covers and, the dollar amount.
Yeah.
Because, you have to save to put that money up knowing that, okay, I completed everything, and I should have a certain amount of money put aside to, like you stated, it was $750 for one book, it was $15 for another. And I mean, I'm blessed because my son, I sent him to school and he's a graphic design, so he's doing my design. I know I paid for it already. Okay? Yes. I have beautiful nieces and nephews that I can use their photos. I already, questioned them about it. So I definitely will into family to make sure that they help.
Good, because you're going to need it.
Yes.
Definitely going to need it, especially when you have a book as large as yours. You're going to find most of the money that you spend is going to be on editing your book. Mm-hmm. And what they do is, and this is another thing I did not mention, but once you have it edited once, they'll tell you to review it, and they would like for you to send it back through the editing process again. Oh. I've never done that. I've never done that. Once they've reviewed it one time, I've only sent it through the editing process once because it does start getting very expensive. But they may say, hey, look through the book, see if there's, especially if there's something that they feel like you need to change in a certain chapter. They may say, hey, you might want to rewrite this or rethink this. Now, what you could do, and I just thought about it, is that section that you rewrite, just send that in for them to edit just that. That will cut down on your costs, and I just thought about that. So you might want to do that. You want to think of ways to really save money when you're doing this yourself, because you want to spend your money on, you're going to spend your money on editing, but you really want to spend your money on marketing yourself. You need to get out there. You need to get out there. You need for people to know who you are. You can start in your neighborhood. You can spread out. You can go on the radio. I didn't mention that, but going on the radio, having your commercial run on the radio, you're going to have to get out there. The thing about a publishing company is that they publish and get the book out there for you. Now, if you do it yourself, you're going to have to put all your time and effort into getting on book tours and putting the word out about your book. And it's going to take work. Okay. And don't be afraid to travel. The best thing about traveling is you get to write off your business expenses. Yeah. Yep, that's part of your book deal. If you talk to anyone, if you go to New York, you talk to someone, you have lunch with someone about your book, bam, you can write off the lunch because you're actually doing business.
Oh, yep. Good to know.
Yes, yes. Keep your receipts. If you're traveling in your vehicle and you use those miles to drive to a book tour, or if you fly somewhere, keep your receipts and you can use that as a business expense. Okay. All right, I have less than 1 minute. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I'll send those emails out to you guys sometime tonight or maybe tomorrow morning with all the data and information and the survey, okay?
Okay.
All right, Sean, do you have any questions?
No, just thank you for the class. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Jada, you have any questions?
No. I learned everything I needed to know.
All right, get to writing. That's it. That's the biggest thing is getting to writing, and don't try to be perfect, Charmaine. Get it out. Get it out there. All right. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you so much for your
night.
time and patience. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
Bye.